Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Lowell Walters, and I want to talk to you today about mid-year premium increases and how it can affect your cafeteria plan requirements. Now, my name is Lowell Walters. I'm an attorney at Carlton Fields that focuses on employee benefits, which is mainly group health plans or retirement plans, but really can arise anytime you're offering your employees something of value. Now, this is not the same as the presentation, or I think the video that I released last summer about cafeteria plan election changes that are allowed pursuant to certain COVID-related guidance. And we did certainly get new guidance allowing participants, or group health plans can allow participants a lot of freedom, a lot of leeway to change their elections. That is not this, all right? In December of 2020, a rule came out, and this rule was focused on grandfathered health plans, all right, grandfathered under the Affordable Care Act. Now, this discussion is not going to focus on grandfathered health plans under the Affordable Care Act, but that's what triggered it. The IRS, Department of Labor, and Department of Health and Human Services released regulations relaxing the cost sharing restrictions that apply to grandfathered health plans. And what made me think about the rules, or talk to you about the rules with premium increases, is that these regulations are effective June 15th, 2021. June 15th, 2021. And the Department of HHS already released some additional guidance about it, and it might mean that employers with grandfather group health plans may want to revise their cost sharing features mid-year. So since most group health plans have already completed their open enrollment for 2021, if you want to take advantage of this and shift more costs onto your employees in terms of premium costs and do that mid-year, you have a mid-year cost increase that triggers certain cafeteria plan requirements, and that's what I want to talk about. All right. Now, I'll tell you what, I guess I will spend a little bit of time talking about grandfather group health plans to respect the time of those of you who don't have grandfather group health plans. You've tuned into this video to learn more about what happens if you increase premiums mid-year. Go ahead, start to fast forward. I'm going to talk about grandfather group health plans for a little bit. And when I'm done and I'm ready to shift to the more general discussion, that's the point of this video, I will go like this, and I'll try to do it slowly so that if you're fast forwarding it, you can see, and then you can stop the video and listen in. So to be clear, when I talk about grandfathered group health plans, I'm talking about since the Affordable Care Act came into being, these group health plans have not made certain changes since March 23rd, 2010. And some of the changes they will not have made is they will not have eliminated coverage for any particular condition that was covered on that date. They will not, or they have not, increased cost sharing beyond certain thresholds, and cost sharing would include deductibles, co-pays, and other aspects. They have not decreased the plan sponsor contribution rate by more than 5%. They have not added any annual limits that didn't exist prior to March 23rd, 2010. All right, so those are some serious restrictions. And if you have a grandfathered health plan and you're first now understanding the restrictions imposed on your plan, you might be wondering, why did we do this? Why are we seeking to protect our grandfathered status? All right, keep in mind, grandfathered status is voluntary. All right, it is voluntary. So every few years, it makes sense for you to reassess whether you want to continue protecting that grandfathered plan status, because certainly there's a certain amount you can do. You have more flexibility in certain respects if you're not a grandfathered health plan. So what I'll give you now is maybe not necessarily all the benefits of maintaining a grandfather group health plan, but these would be the primary ones. Most employers who sponsor a grandfather group health plan, all right, um, do so or appreciate the fact that they are not required to cover preventative care with no cost sharing. When their employees go to the doctor for their wellness visit, they can be required to have a deductible and have this not included in that. They can have a copay, etc. There also is not an expanded appeals process. You have the more standard appeals process that has applied for a long time, and not the additional appeals required by the Affordable Care Act. And the annual limits on cost sharing do not apply. So those might not be the only reasons, but those would be the main reasons someone might want to continue to maintain a grandfather group health plan. Now, this regulation that was passed last December, all right, it did not change percentage-based cost sharing. So if your plan provides that employees pay X percent and the company pays Y percent, that does not change. But to the extent there is a fixed dollar cost share, like for example, a $10 copay, all right, that is affected by this regulation. Let's see. The current limit is that you can't exceed the fixed dollar cost sharing, cannot exceed the greater of the maximum percentage increase, all right, or $5 as adjusted for medical inflation. All right. The maximum percentage increase is medical inflation plus 15%. All right. Now, the regulation takes that $5 adjustment and allows it to be increased by the greater of medical inflation, or they created a new term, premium adjustment percentage. All right. So if the premium adjustment percentage is higher than the maximum percentage increase, then you can increase the cost sharing even more. All right. The premium adjustment percentage has been issued for 2021. So you can go and look that up and assess whether that would help your plan or talk to your advisor about that. All right. The regulation also allows high deductible health plans to increase costs as needed, mainly to increase their deductible as needed to retain high deductible health plan status. This hasn't been an issue yet, but it's expected that it might come in a year or two. So there you go. Keep in mind, if you had a grandfather group health plan and you lost that grandfathering protection, you lost that status either on purpose or by accident, this regulation does not give you a way to get that status back. It does not. All right. So now, so again, if you're a grandfather group health plan, you now may have an opportunity after June 15th to shift more costs onto your employees. And if you do that by way of premiums, then you may have a mid-year premium increase. So now I'm going to wave my hand slowly for everybody who is fasting forward so they can stop. And I'll take a drink of water for a moment. And now I'm going to talk about how a mid-year premium increase has ramifications on your cafeteria plan. All right. And most of what I was talking about before was why grandfather group health plans might have that this year. But really, if your company is suffering financial difficulty, or you're changing health insurance policies for some reason this year and it winds up being a more expensive premium, you can pass that along to your employees, but there are certain ramifications. All right. The key is Internal Revenue Code Section 125, which is the cafeteria plan rule under the Internal Revenue Code. And now, generally, what 125 does in terms of employee elections, it allows employees to pay certain premiums pre-tax. They make an election during open enrollment. All right, and a premium change can trigger an ability to change your election. Certainly, if the premium goes up and the election doesn't go up, then more money is not flowing pre-tax. So all of a sudden, a portion of that coverage has to be paid on an after-tax basis, which makes employees even less happy than the fact that their premiums are increasing. All right. So this is an optional change. So you'll want to check your plan document to see if premium increases can provide for an election change. Now, I must admit, I've never drafted a cafeteria plan that did not allow. All right. Every cafeteria plan document that I've reviewed or drafted has allowed election changes when premiums change. But technically it's optional, so technically you should check. And what the Internal Revenue Code does is they require you to look at the increase and make a determination as to whether it is insignificant or significant. All right. If you're going to look at your cafeteria plan document and do a search, you might just want to search for the word significant and see what comes up. Now, if the election change is insignificant, meaning not significant, right, then your plan can actually allow employees to change their elections automatically. All right. That certainly is nice, certainly is very convenient. Let's say premiums are going up $10 a pay period, and you determine that $10 per pay period is not significant. Well, you can just simply allow the additional $10 to come out of employees' paychecks on a pre-tax basis without giving a formal election right or asking permission, because it's an insignificant change. All right. Now, if the change is significant, it is a significant difference. Coverage is increasing $20 per pay period, or maybe it's still only $10 per pay period, but you have certain employees that the additional $10 would make it such a large part of their paycheck that they might consider it to be significant. All right. And that's notable because a single increase that's across the board can be significant for some employees and insignificant for others. So you have to make the determination based on your different groups of employees. If the change is significant, then the employees, if it's provided for in the plan, should be able to make election changes, including dropping coverage if there is no similar coverage available. So let's take an example where, let's say, a company offers a high deductible health plan and an HMO. And normally the HMO will have higher premiums. All right. And let's say the premiums for both plans are going up. They're going up mid-year, and it is a significant change. All right. The HMO participants may have the opportunity to elect to increase their election as needed to stay in the HMO. You may also be able to allow them to decrease their election and switch to the high deductible health plan and go into that. With the high deductible health plan, right now here with this, presumably there's no lower cost option. I'll say there actually is conflicting guidance out there, whether you can allow them to drop coverage altogether, or you can only allow them to increase their election to stay in the high deductible health plan. That's a little less clear. It might be worth checking with your advisor to see if new guidance comes out at the time you're making your decision. Now, what also makes this a little bit complicated is there is so little guidance on determining when a cost change is significant. All we know for sure is that it is a facts and circumstances test. And the change can, like I said before, the change can be significant for some employees and insignificant for others. Most commonly, obviously, it would be insignificant for your higher paid employees. So the change could be automatic, whereas maybe your lower paid employees, it is more significant. That does make for a subjective analysis, so you do want to do it carefully. I'd recommend you do it with the assistance from your advisor. One of the things you can do is take a look at the hard dollar increase, and in the example I gave, it was $10. You can also look at it in terms of a percentage. How much is the premium increasing as a percentage of what the premium was? And maybe you want to look at it in terms of employee compensation. What percentage of your employees' compensation was going to go towards premiums? What percentage of your employees' compensation would be going towards premiums after the increase? So if you take a look at that and you think, gosh, it really wouldn't be fair. This increase is substantial enough that it would not be fair to implement it automatically, to not give our employees the opportunity to make a new election or drop coverage. Well, then that would be indicative of it being a significant increase. All right, sometimes you just have to use your gut, or use my gut, or use your advisor's gut to help make that decision. Now, I recently released a video about COBRA. I think I've done some articles on COBRA. Certainly, COBRA is absolutely crazy right now. So let me just mention, if there is good news, some more good news here. Certainly, some good news is that some of your group health plans may be able to reduce some of their costs. Maybe some more good news here is election changes based on these premium increases generally will not trigger COBRA obligations. All right. If the employee changes their election and they drop coverage, that's just a loss of coverage due to a new election opportunity for the employee, and COBRA would not normally apply. All right. Contrast that to you're increasing the premium. Maybe the employee can't pay for their premium on a pre-tax basis, so they're having to write a check, and they stop writing a check. Actually, not true. Non-payment also is not a COBRA event. So scratch that. Sorry, everybody. All right. So I do want to thank you all for tuning in and allowing me to explain how mid-year cost increases can be helpful to your plan, but can also create some complications, so it should be done carefully. If you have any questions about this or another employee benefits topic, please email me at lwalters@carltonfields.com. Thank you.